When last we spoke, I told you of my first trip to the castle. Me and Meryssa went to the castle, met some guards at the castle walls. We did our little dance. Well, made them dance. Went inside, and were told that if we did not leave, they would box our ears. Called me a child. I left. I walked out. I just wanted to go home now. Meryssa was crying again. I was crying too. So we went back home to our stump. This time, Luenga was there. I don't know where he was before, but this is the first time I had seen him since I was no longer a tree. Luenga, even back then, looked old. Small like us, a small, fey creature. Except perhaps the first of the children, because he was the first that we saw. But he was old. He had been living in our stump for a long time. He practiced herbs. Or not our stump, but the hole in our stump for a long time. His home was still there. They'd actually cut it above most of him. He mostly lived down in our roots. But of course, he was not happy at what had happened. I told him, and we proceeded to tell Luenga our story of what had happened. And as I spoke, our children leaned closer to hear. Closer. But I could not speak as a tree. And so my children could not hear me. Not well. But they leaned closer and closer. Oh, and I asked for them to hear me. I called out, and they answered. And my children came stepping out of their trees. With goat horns and fairy wings. Oh, they were glorious. My children. Even in this sad moment, I couldn't help but marvel at this creation. I had not been wasting my time all these years in this tree, as some would think. I had grown up an army of children. My children. I did not yet think of them as an army. We wept together. I, Meryssa, Luenga, and our children who came out from their trees in the forest of faces, as I learned it was called. So, as we were talking, I heard a familiar thumping. From far away, growing closer. He came all the time. But as he got closer, the thumping got louder and faster. He must have been able by then to see that what had happened. that we had been cut down. As he got closer, the ground began to tremble and shake. And then he arrived. Even as fast as he was running, being careful not to knock down a single tree. My friend, Grax. The giant. Well, a giant at this time. And Grax, he looked down, and his voice bellowed, "What has happened to my tree, friend?" And I said, "It is I, Grax. I am here." He knew me, even without my tree. My friend, Grax. He reached down, and I stepped onto his hand. Meryssa stepped up with me, and he held us up so that we could talk. And I told Grax of my days at this point, and what the humans had done. Despite his size, though, Grax was no fighter. Grax could not bring me back my tree. Simply gave us one very large shoulder to cry on. And we mourned for a while. But I can't just cry forever. I wanted my tree. So I went back. I had learned from Grax which window in the castle led to the king's bedchambers. So me and Meryssa flew there. Well, she flew and carried me on her fairy wings. We flew up into the castle window while the king was sleeping. I have never thought it wise for a king's bedchambers to be so exposed in dangerous times. But there he was, sleeping on his bed, with two very angry children floating over top of him. Meryssa shivered her wings, and the dust began to fall down onto his face. And while standing there watching him, we spoke to him in his dream. "Why have you cut me down?" I said, appearing as the tree. And he responded, "Because I am the king of the land, and you are the greatest tree in my land. So I cut you down to make ink of your sap and sawdust, to make the paper for my decrees from your wood, and to carve my great throne for the ceremony that shall seal me to the land and make this land forever mine." And I said, now appearing as myself, "Give me back my tree." He said, "No, I will not relinquish my tree to a child. I will not relinquish my throne to a child." This enraged me. I reached up, grabbing the king by these things on his night clothes, and I shrieked, "Give me back my tree!" But he awoke and called for his guards. They came charging in, some with the melted stone swords, but 3 had axes. So I grabbed Meryssa and we jumped out the window. Running back to our home at the stump. We will keep going. We went home to our stump, to Luenga. Grax had left again by this point, but my children had not gone back into their trees. My children, from their sadness in response to me being cut down, had been pulled from their own trees. They could not go back in. This human had ruined everything with his greed for the land. This could not stand. And so I danced. Just a warning. Around the walls of his city. I dance higher and higher, calling for my soul to flicker, calling for the light from within. To come and burn on my feet, to show them what a child could do. And when I danced so high that the whole city could see me, I said one last time, "Give me back my tree!" We will end there.